Taste, tolerance, and triggering posts are three things that I've been thinking about a lot over the past week or so. And it's all got a lot to do with the end of dry January and the stuff that I've seen people talking about over the past few days. So let's get right to it with the taste issue. That's the first thing I want to talk about. This post here is from someone I'm Facebook friends with. On Monday, he wrote, "First glass of wine of the year after dry January tastes like 80% whiskey. We now feel like we may prefer the 0% stuff instead. It's amazing how quickly the palate changes." Yes, it is. This is something that I want to point out in case you've had a similar experience but kind of glossed over that or forgotten about it. Because I often work with women who tell me how much they love their wine. It's part of their identity. They can't imagine never ever drinking it again because they love it. But when we start talking about their past experiences of trying to stop drinking or taking short breaks, like a month off, they often will mention how when they went back to drinking, that first glass of wine was really disappointing. I mean, some people have actually described like picking up the bottle and looking at it like, what the heck is this? Was this really my favourite? And the truth is that most of us, not everyone, but most people, had to work to acquire a taste for alcohol. Instinctively, our taste buds didn't love wine, but we train ourselves to tolerate the taste because drinking is cool, wine seems sophisticated, and ultimately, it's a way of getting the effect and the feeling that we're looking for. Our taste buds can reset themselves. And I want to point this out to you because I know how easy it is to get lost in these stories about how you are a wine lover. That's always going to be the way things are. You're always going to really appreciate the subtle notes of this and that. And somehow you just erase from your memory those times when you actually have taken a break from drinking. And then when you've gone back to it, the taste made you wince because it wasn't like you remembered it. If you have had that experience of not enjoying it, but forcing down a glass and then pushing through another, then you're not doing that for the taste. You are doing that because you want the effect of the drug in your system. And that is something to be really, really conscious of. Can be a little bit harder to admit that. It's much easier and more socially acceptable to talk about the taste. But hey, that's why I'm mentioning it here. The second thing I want to talk about is tolerance. If you do something like dry January and then you go back to drinking, you're probably not going to need much alcohol in order to feel the effects because your tolerance is lower. So what does that mean? It means you'll probably be able to just have one or two and then leave it there. Now again, not everyone has that experience. For some people, it's like jumping off a cliff and they go straight back to drinking like they did before. But I would say for most people, drinking after a period of abstinence can create this dangerous illusion of suddenly being in control with alcohol. So when I think back to when I was struggling with my drinking and I took breaks, whenever I go back to booze, I used to congratulate myself on learning how to moderate. I thought I'd nailed it. But then the next time I drank, of course, I needed a little bit more. And the time after that, more again. And very quickly, I was back to drinking exactly the way I had been before. Then I'd be telling myself off for losing control and forgetting how to moderate. I was making it all about me and my strengths and my weaknesses rather than understanding and seeing the situation for what it really was. Alcohol is an addictive drug. It's normal to get addicted to addictive substances, especially something like alcohol, which is so romanticized and often presented to us as the solution to every bad day or uncomfortable feeling. I mean, Of course, you are going to want more of that. It's a no-brainer. It's not a personal weakness, it's just reality. It's a bit like taking up smoking and then being all surprised and upset with yourself when you go and get addicted to nicotine. I'm mentioning this here because I don't want you to waste any time thinking that you've won or then lost some willpower battle. You haven't. You've just taken a break and then gone back to using this powerful drug. And this is all part of the pattern and the journey. It's all very predictable stuff. The final thing I want to talk about today are triggering posts. So I was actually going to call this blog Taste, Tolerance and Tossers, only I thought better of it at the last minute. And yeah, but I do feel that word kind of sums up the people I'm talking about here. I am thinking of those people who get on Facebook on the 1st of February and post something like this. Wow, dry January was so much easier than I thought. Obviously, I'm not going to quit drinking forever because that'd be really boring and only alcoholics need to do that. But yeah, not drinking was very, very easy for me and I felt incredible. I felt amazing the whole month, yeah. I know from some of the posts in my course, in my coaching program and in my private Facebook group that many of us have acquaintances like this. And if you found dry January to be tough, or you've worked really, really hard to quit drinking, then seeing other people declare how easy it all is, or kind of minimize the whole experience, can be quite irritating. Here's what we've got to remember though. Social media only ever tells a fraction of the story. I think in the last year of my drinking career, when things were getting worse and worse, I still managed to take a whole month off booze. So I remember that I tried and failed at dry January, but I think before that, the summer before, there was a point where I managed to take a whole month off drinking. And I did it as a little test really to prove to myself that everything was totally fine and there was nothing to worry about. So in my opinion, a month off drinking doesn't really mean that much and a lot can change quite quickly. What people post on social media only ever tells a teeny tiny fraction of what's going on in their lives. It's just the stuff they want to broadcast. And when I see people posting stuff like I described, I always think to myself, I wonder why you're sharing that. I wonder what has motivated you to put that message out into the world. Because when I think about the people who I truly like, who I respect and care about, they don't tend to post stuff like that. So honestly, let's leave those people to follow their own path, whilst we quietly work on creating an amazing alcohol-free lifestyle that is going to be so much better than those people will ever know or experience. So those are the three things I wanted to talk about today: taste, tolerance, and triggering posts. Let me know what you think about this stuff, what you think about the points I've raised here, and I wish you a very happy and hangover-free week ahead.